A bishop accused of a $100 million fraud? Pope Francis will make him a cardinal anyway. Join us with the latest from the Eternal City Church Militant Rome correspondent, Dr. Jules Gomes. Jules, the Francis pontificate was supposed to clean up the Vatican's financial mess, as per the Pope. Yet here's another multi-million-dollar scandal with the Vatican's fingerprints all over it. Tell us about it.
The Vatican's fingerprints not only all over it, but the Vatican seems to have directed this whole scam. And this involves none other than his beatitude, Pier Battista Pizzaballa, the Latin patriarch of Jerusalem. Facing very serious accusations, Brad, and yet Pope Francis has made him a cardinal.
So, Jules, dial us in now more on the specifics of the scandal without getting too deep in the weeds and the Vatican's involvement in that scandal.
Right. The specifics are complicated, and so we will provide viewers with a bare outline of the story. But this is what it involves: a Jordanian-American entrepreneur by the name of Benjamin Seriani, who was tapped by the Vatican, going up as high as Pietro Parolin, the Secretary of State, to basically launder money to participate, as Seriani says, in a $50 million money laundering scheme to raise funds for the American University in Madaba, in Jordan. Now, the Latin Patriarchate, we know, suffered a $100 million deficit. They have admitted this themselves. And our sources tell us that 50 million of this money was borrowed by the Vatican through Cardinal Pietro Parolin and the Secretary of State from Jordanian banks, 50 million from Swiss banks for the American University in Madaba. But none of these funds were used for the university. Instead, they were used to purchase oil companies in Libya and Austria, allegedly, as well as to set up a fake telecommunication company in Jordan to launder money. There's much more, Brad, but these are the bare bones of the story.
Well, that kind of harkens back to the whole London real estate scam that we covered ad nauseum there. Let's talk about the time frame of these accusations coming in. They came in and just shortly before Pope Francis, I mean at least a month before Pope Francis went ahead and extended the red hat to the very guy who was involved in all these accusations. Can you dial that in for our viewers?
Well, absolutely, because, see, this has been going on since 2019. Explicitly, Seriani filed a case against the Vatican, naming Parolin, naming Pizzaballa, naming former patriarchs. It was a very big case. And he filed it in California, in the Superior Court there, and basically was calling these guys to account. So I mean, that should have set off a red flag in the Vatican. However, in June, Seriani sent a complaint to Pope Francis, to Cardinal Luis Ladaria, head of the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, to the Vatican Prefecture for Economic Affairs, etc., etc. And he complained explicitly against Pizzaballa. But lo and behold, Brad, less than a month later, we see Pope Francis totally ignoring this grave complaint and elevating Pizzaballa as a prince of the church.
That's amazing. He's going to get a red hat in September now. Now, Pizzaballa, like you say, this has been going on for quite a while. He has quite a past, and there's according to a Catholic watchdog and president of Roman Catholic Faithful, Stephen Brady, who tracks all sorts of scandals and has for many years within the church. What's Brady saying about Pizzaballa?
Well, this is what Brady says. I'm quote directly for him. He says, Pizzaballa's involvement extends beyond individual actions and encompassing and encompasses a vast web of financial, moral, and ethical corruption. Ironically, in 2016, he was initially assigned by Pope Francis to address issues of crime, but he himself became one of the alleged leading players in this corruption by following illicit orders from the Vatican. And Brady also tells me that Pizzaballa made the decision to sell a very important sacred property belonging to the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem in Nazareth. Brady says that this property holds immense value to the Catholic Church and its faithful. Brady also adds, Brad, that the sale was purportedly made to allegedly cover a $50 million loan obtained from the John the Baptist Foundation, an entity created in Rome specifically for this purpose.
Well, it just keeps getting deeper and deeper. Now let's pull off the whole financial scandal issue just for a minute and look at another angle of all this. Can you tell us, Jules, why the Vatican would appoint an Italian, Pizzaballa, at the risk of upsetting the whole Arab community, Arab Catholics in the Middle East, many of whom are facing dire persecution there?
Well, this is another big question. I've been talking to people on the ground, and on the one hand, they say, this puts us in a very bad light. It seems to send out a signal that all the previous Arab patriarchs were corrupt. Now, that may well be the case. We don't know. But they said, couldn't you find a single Arab to elevate to this position, particularly as we are facing, pressure from all sides as Catholics in the Holy Land? Why did you have to? This smacks of colonialism, imposing European and Italian on us, particularly at this time. And then, as if to add insult to injury, you're giving him a red hat. How about one of our guys?
Yeah, and then, he'd be more, you would think an Arab would be more sensitive to selling off large bits of property from the Middle East that are very, that are treasured by those in the Middle East. Now, Jules, let's just look back at the Vatican for a minute. Now, you've been at ground zero in the Vatican for years now. In your estimation, has Pope Francis made good on his promise to clean up the Vatican's financial dirt? Or have the scandals actually only increased under your watch?
That's a very good question, Brad. The scandals, let's put it this way, have not diminished under my watch. What's happened is that they've got a lot more complicated. There seems to have been a number of fall guys set up who will take the blame, rather than going to the root of the problem and cleaning up the mess at the very root. There seems to have been a lot of cosmetic changes, particularly Pope Francis introducing a lot of new laws and decrees, etc., etc. But have these really succeeded in having an impact on the ground? Have the criminals been brought to justice? Well, this week, we are watching before our eyes the trial of the century, the mother of all Vatican financial scandals unfold. You remember we reported extensively on this. This involves Cardinal Angelo Becciu, his glamour girl, who was again paid millions of dollars, etc. Allegedly, he funneled money to his family members, which he vehemently denies. He claims he's been made the fall guy. But last week, the prosecutor, Alessandro Ditti, he made a very pertinent comment. He said that all these people at the highest levels of the Vatican, prelates, who were involved in, for example, the London property scandal, defied canon law, defied church teaching blatantly, and that is why we are in this mess.
Well, Scripture says money is the root of all evil, but when that evil weed's grown in the Vatican, you can bet that avarice isn't the only cardinal sin being committed. Please pray for our religious leaders, and when the shepherds fall, many sheep fall with them. Jules, thank you so much for your report and your insightful commentary.
Thank you, Brad.